Ladies and gentlemen, I've got a live look at Joe Biden's State of the Union address right here. How's it going, guys? Welcome back to UnwokeThoughts. Today, we are looking at Joe Biden's State of the Union address. And right here, guys, believe it or not, look at this. This is Joe Biden giving his State of the Union address. Does it look familiar? Did you watch it? Let's listen in.
We're going to buy America. Folks, so trade rules. Buy America has been the law since 1933. Also caps and won't even go into effect until 2025. And by the way, that law was written and the benefit expires in 2025. New electric grids that are able to weather major storms and not prevent those forest fires.
Yes, guys, so it was about an hour of Joe Biden stumbling and mumbling. I saw a tweet where it said that there was someone who actually counted every single time that he stuttered or slurred his words, and it was around 123 times or something like that, which is pretty incredible. But before the speech, Marjorie Taylor Green approached Joe Biden, and this is her holding the camera, the phone right here, and she approaches Joe Biden, and she hands him a button that says Laken Riley. Now, Laken Riley, of course, is the girl that was killed by a illegal immigrant, and he looks at her, and he says, I can say the name, and he does not say the name. Listen to this.
I know, Tom. How are you? Steve from Detroit. I know, Steve. Well, I told you before, if I had your hair, I'd have gotten elected earlier.
Laken Riley.
I know how to say the name.
Laken Riley. Say your name, Mr. President.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. President. Leader, how are you? Good.
But during the speech, Joe Biden actually attempted to say her name, but here is the button right here that Marjorie Taylor Green handed to Joe Biden. It says, say her name, Laken Riley. And you got to give it to the guy. He attempted to say her name. Now, this is him holding up the button during the State of the Union address that Marjorie Taylor Green handed to him. But the problem is, when he tried to say Laken Riley, he actually said Lincoln Riley, which is not the woman that was killed by the illegal immigrant. It was, in fact, the name of a USC football coach, Lincoln Riley. Yes, that actually happened live at the State of the Union. Listen.
It's not about him. It's not about me. I'd be a winner. Not really. Lincoln Riley, an innocent young woman who was killed by an illegal. That's right. But how many of the thousands of people being killed by illegals? To her parents, I say, my heart goes out to you, having lost children myself. I understand. But look, if we change the dynamic at the border, people pay these smugglers $8,000 to get across the border because they know if they get by and let into the country, it's 6 to 8 years before they have a hearing. And it's worth taking the chance of the $8,000. But if it's only 6 weeks.
So, of course, this is Joe Biden lying through his teeth and blaming the Republicans for the disastrous border bill that the Democrats and the Rhino Republicans tried to pass. How about we prevent the illegal immigrants from coming across the border in the first place? And then there would not be that massive backlog of illegal immigrants trying to get into the court system. How about that? How about you reinstate the Remain in Mexico law? How about that? But no, you ended that and you invited millions upon millions of illegal immigrants into the country. But guys, I have some pretty shocking news for you. And this is actually shocking. I'm not being facetious here. The mainstream media is turning on Joe Biden. Now, listen to this. Joe Biden, for the majority of the speech, he was screaming. In fact, Donald Trump on True Social, he was talking about this because Donald Trump was live truthing this entire speech. He was live tweeting, I guess, whatever. He was watching the State of the Union, and he was commenting on it on his True Social. And for a little bit there, True Social went down because I guess there were so many people that were going to his profile and trying to read what he was saying. But one of the things that Donald Trump said is that Joe Biden was screaming. He said, why are you yelling? He's losing it. And this is what CNN actually noticed as well. And when I saw this actually shocked me. But this is CNN actually being critical of Joe Biden. Listen.
He seemed like Walt Kowalski. You talked about this earlier. He seemed like Walt Kowalski in Gran Torino screaming at kids, get off my lawn, like an old guy screaming at kids.
My guess is that when he got into the heart of his agenda, the things that you ridicule about the cost of food and, price gouging and so on, I bet you that scored with a lot of people. I think that the populist economic agenda is a powerful, powerful thing for him.
Yeah, CNN being critical of Joe Biden is not something I had on my bingo card, but that was not the only instance. There was actually another instance where a CNN contributor said this about Joe Biden. He said that he is obsessed with his political rival more than he was obsessed with the condition of the American people.
He talked about Snickers and snack chips before he ever got to the border. He was obsessed with his political rival more than he was obsessed with the condition of the American people. It was so weird. This guy lectures us all on unity, the soul of the nation, and he gives the most partisan convention speech in place of a State of the Union that I've ever heard. It's the literal opposite of unity. It's so partisan. He's obsessed with taunting Republicans. It's not statesmanlike.
I could not have said it better myself. Joe Biden, and a couple times during the State of the Union, he actually turned to the Republicans and started mocking them because they very clearly are not happy with the border situation, the economy, and many other things that Joe Biden was saying. Because if you listen to it, a lot of what was coming out of Joe Biden's mouth were outright lies, but I'm not really sure if he knew they were lies because he was just reading off a teleprompter pretty much the entire time. And he was more coherent than I thought he was going to be. But of course, what is going on when Joe Biden is giving the State of the Union? This is probably the most important speech in his 4 years in office because he's got the entire world watching him. So what are they doing? What are his handlers doing? What are they giving him? They are injecting him with vitamins, giving him IV drips. They're probably giving him Adderall, all sorts of things to make sure he's at the top of his game. He probably woke up about half an hour before the speech started. He probably had a bed down in one of the wings where he slept all the way up to about a half an hour before it started. And then he woke up. He was probably actually wearing a suit too. It was one of those wrinkle-free suits probably, that didn't get all wrinkly when you lay down or something like that. Then he woke up, popped up, and walked down, talked to some of the Democrats, tried to avoid the Republicans, and gave the State of the Union speech. And I can only imagine that he is going to sleep for probably a good couple weeks after giving this speech because he's going to be exhausted after having all of those vitamins and Adderall and everything running through his system and trying his best to stay energetic up on the stage. But Donald Trump was live tweeting or live truthing during the State of the Union. And this is what he had to say about 3 hours before the State of the Union started. He said, "This will be an exciting evening. You never know what you're going to get with Crooked Joe. Follow our play-by-play on Truth, Donald J. Trump." Now, I was trying to follow along, but there was a point in time pretty close to the beginning of Biden's State of the Union where I guess the servers got overloaded and it just wasn't loading because there was so many people. I'm assuming it was either a DDoS attack, some sort of hack, where there are so many people that were trying to access Trump's account to read his truths that the server got overloaded. But he had some very funny truths that he said. But this was the first truth that Donald Trump sent out before the State of the Union started. He said, "The president is very substantially late. Not a good start, but let's give him the benefit of the doubt." I'm sure he had very important things to do, but he is just now getting into the car. They will have to drive very, very quickly. You just know you don't want to be late to the State of the Union. They will need Mario Andretti to be at the wheel of the limo. Yes, and then, of course, if I scroll up here, these are all the tweets that Donald Trump was sending out, all the truths. He said he is so angry and crazy. And then, Joe Biden was coughing. He coughed probably about, over 10 times during the speech. And Donald Trump, of course, noticed that. He said, the coughing, always the coughing. And then scroll up here. Donald Trump, he was just going crazy on True Social. But guys, what do you think about Joe Biden's State of the Union? What do you think about what he said about the border when he finally mentioned it? What do you think about what he said about Lincoln Riley? What do you think about that? What do you think about Marjorie Taylor Green handing him a button that said, say her name? And what do you think about the fact that Biden refused to say Donald Trump's name? What do you think about that? Do you think it was disrespectful? Do you think that was a little bit partisan? Do you think that divided our country? Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Like and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. But until then, I will see you on the next one.